Senator Merkley, welcome to Curry County.
Thank you. Great to be here.
And you're here for a town hall. How many town halls are you doing today?
Well, 3 today and 11 over a 4-day period. This is my last day, my fourth day. So.
What have you been hearing from folks? I mean, we're before the town hall. So what have folks been saying around Oregon?
Well, I've been hearing a lot of concern about the direction of our country, certainly about the number of executive orders and whether those are encroaching on our constitutional separation of powers. I've been hearing a lot of concern about free speech in America and whether we're sliding towards, if you will, a strongman state rather than a we the people republic.
Are we?
Well, yes, I think we are, actually, yes. Yes, the challenge we've seen in many nations is if you have an acquiescent legislature and a deferential court and a strong executive that likes authoritarian power, you can lose the essential checks and balances. And we are in many challenges for that right now.
Are we in the middle of a constitutional crisis?
We absolutely are.
What does that mean?
Well, what that means is that, as Madison said, we have to have government because leaders are not angels. And so to prevent a president from becoming a king, our founders said, we've got to have the design of the executive branch in the hands of Congress. We have to have the decision about how money is spent in the hands of Congress. But right now we have a president who says, I want that power. I want to decide how much money goes to different agencies, and I want to redesign them without congressional authority. That is an absolute violation of the Constitution.
But it doesn't seem that the courts are necessarily standing up and saying that it is a violation of the Constitution.
Well, there have been a lot of district court decisions that have said this is a violation. And the challenge is that goes from the district to the circuit, finally to the Supreme Court. It takes time in the middle of it. Some courts say one thing, some say another. So it all has to be sorted out. But certainly there are 3 forces that can help respond. And one is Congress, and the second is the courts, and the third is the American people. When their voice becomes powerful, when they are powerfully concerned, passionately concerned, those they elected listen.
Well, it seems like those they elected are listening, and what they want is an authoritative kind of government. They want a strongman leader. What do you say to those folks who are saying, it's okay if we deport folks that are maybe here legally. It's okay if we get rid of them. Is that a problem here?
Well, certainly this has come up in many of my town halls. And what people understand is that if you are deporting people without due process, you are encroaching on freedom. I mean, the thing that keeps every American from a government that just grabs you and tosses you into jail or tosses you onto a plane is due process. It protects you from an overbearing, authoritarian government. So one might say, oh, well, in this case, the president, he's got some folks who came from Venezuela. He doesn't think they're productive in our country. Let's toss them. Well, go through due process to make sure that the freedom and rights of every person are protected. And that's what the Supreme Court said 9-0 last week.
So I'm going to switch back to Curry County a little bit. Curry County, I know you know, is old and poor. And a lot of folks here depend on Medicare and Medicaid. Our hospital is a critical access hospital. Medicaid's getting cut. What is that going to do to Curry County's health care system? Well,
the instructions that were just adopted by the Republican majority in both houses says $880 billion has to come out of Medicaid. I don't know if indeed that will happen because there's 2 stages. There's instructions to say, go figure it out, and now they passed that. Now the committees have to figure it out. And when they start to tackle it, I think they're going to realize a number of things. Think about our state. We have 350,000 children on Oregon Health Plan, our Medicaid. We have 375,000 rural residents on Oregon Health Plan. Oregon Health Plan is essential for addiction programs, is essential for the disabled, essential for our veterans. So when they start talking about cutting Medicaid or Oregon Health Plan, we're also looking at the destruction of our rural health care clinics and hospitals, because if people can't pay their health care bill, then the hospitals and clinics don't survive. So we'll see how this unfolds, but the fight is not over. And I do think a lot of my Republican colleagues are very concerned, but they feel intimidated. They feel like well, let's give some time. But they're starting to get very nervous about the encroachment on congressional powers and on American freedom. So I'm looking forward to them coming around. We did have a first vote in the Senate where we had a majority who said to the president, end these tariffs on Canada. And so I don't think the House is going to take it up and do the same thing. But in fact, it was the first vote where you started to see a significant, I guess, deviation from the president's request.
What concerns you the most about this session of Congress?
Well, I'm concerned that we have a trifecta in a situation with this very aggressive president, and that they're putting forward a bill called a reconciliation bill that is devastating for America. 3 strikes against it are: first, $2 trillion being cut from fundamental programs in healthcare, housing, and education. Second strike is it gives $2 trillion to the very richest Americans. Who needs that? Third strike, $7 trillion in additional debt over 10 years, a curse on the next generation. 3 strikes, we must defeat this bill.
Well,
Hey, Laura, I think this got to be the last one.
This is it. I'm
Switch them
done.
out,
Yep.
and then there you go.
so last question. A lot of people are getting fired from the federal government. A lot of government jobs are gone. Government jobs are not necessarily replaceable, and that says to me that there are going to be a lot of people who are going to be out on the streets. Are you looking ahead to the consequences, the dominoes of what's going on?
A lot of folks have been fired who were fired illegally. We've gotten them rehired, but they could be fired legally through reduction in force coming up. But listen, it's a strategy driven by the head of the Office of Management and Budget, in which he really believes everything should be privatized. Oh, our postal service, let's undercut it and then sell it off. Our federal lands, let's undercut the management and sell them off, and so forth. And this is really a huge mistake. Our government employees are professionals trying to deliver the best services, often in agencies that are already grossly understaffed, and they need to be celebrated. Instead, the head of OMB is saying, I want them to feel traumatized and feel like villains. And that's how he and this administration are treating them. We need those professional experience and knowledge to run things effectively for us.
Anything else?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Switch 'em
Thank
on
you.